So lately I've noticed something about myself that I think a lot of people quietly struggle with. Every time that I feel called to play a bigger game, to follow my intuition more deeply, until I go all in on projects, there's this one little thing that just keeps creeping in again and again and again. And it's so subtle, but it has stopped me every time in the past. And that is that people will be upset with me, that they'll judge me for what I'm doing and that they'll pull away. And they won't like who I'm becoming because I'm becoming a version of myself that they're not accustomed to, that they're not used to. And the thing is, I don't even know if they're upset with me. It's just a perception. It's all in my head. Because the realization that hit me was, it's not actually people's perceptions that stop us from playing a big game. It's the story that we're telling ourselves about what that person thinks, what they perceive. Because once you realize this, you actually stop dimming yourself and you start playing a big game and you start going for it because this doesn't hold you back anymore. We're going to talk about 3 things. Number 1 is why thinking you know what others think isn't actually intuition at all. Second is how negative perceptions of others actually creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. And third is how shifting the relationship you have with yourself actually shifts the way the world moves with you and responds to you. And towards the end, I'm going to share the one internal shift that changed how I move through relationships entirely. Now, this is where I had to be brutally honest with myself. I kept telling myself I was picking up on energy, that I was intuitive, that I could feel what people were thinking about me. But that's all bullshit because I have no idea what other people are thinking about me, and none of us do. Believing I know what others think about me isn't actually intuition at all. It's assumption, and it's very egotistical. And because it's assumption, the law of assumption starts to come into play, which creates a self-fulfilling prophecy because the law of assumption states that if you assume something is going to happen, the universe is going to work in a way that makes that thing happen. So if you assume someone doesn't like you, then that thing will happen. Things will move in a certain way where you can go, oh, I was right. Because you had these beliefs, you had these thoughts, you had these perceptions about people. The universe said, okay, well, I'm going to make sure you see it. I'm going to make sure it happens because that is where your focus is going. And the thing is, when you do that, you only have yourself to blame. Because who are you to assume that you have access to someone else's inner world? Who am I to assume that I have access to someone else's inner world? I don't. No one does. And here's what I've noticed again and again is that whenever I assume that someone doesn't like me or that someone is judging me or that someone is upset with me, once I actually just address it with that person straight on, whatever narrative I had created in my mind is totally false. And then we end up laughing about it because I go, oh, I thought this about this situation. And they go, what? You were both just assuming totally different narratives. And it's not until you guys come together and actually talk like human beings and have a fucking real conversation that you realize that these just like crazy narratives get stored in your head. Because then you later find out that it was completely false, that that person actually likes you. They actually respect you. They're supportive, or in most cases, they're neutral and they couldn't really care much about you because they're too focused on their own internal world. Unless you're standing right in front of them and having a conversation with them, chances are they're not even thinking about you, which is so liberating because you can totally remove that negative narrative, that narrative that you have constructed about that person. And this raises a very confronting question that if most of my negative assumptions are wrong, then why do I keep believing them? And here's where it gets deeper. That negative perception that you hold about others doesn't just live in your head. It changes how close you allow yourself to get to that person. It keeps them at arm's reach. If you believe that someone will eventually let you down, then of course you're going to keep them at arm's reach. If you believe that someone is secretly judging you, then of course you're going to keep them at arm's reach. If you believe that someone is the enemy, then of course you're going to stay and remain guarded. And the thing is, with the narratives that you create about other people, they feel justified. So the distance feels justified. Because when that person does eventually let you down, because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, they will let you down if you believe they will. Then you can go, oh, I knew it. I knew they were going to let me down. I knew it all along. And what good is that for you? Like, the 5-second dopamine rush of saying, yep, I knew it. I knew I was right all along. It doesn't serve you at all. And this is the part that I really had to own. I wasn't protecting myself. I was pre-rejecting people so that I didn't have to get vulnerable with them. By assuming the worst, I never had to risk being fully open. But that also meant that I couldn't experience genuine closeness. And it got very lonely. If I keep expecting people to let me down, then they inevitably will. Because our brain works in a way that whatever our focus is on, then we will see more of that. And wherever our focus goes, energy grows. So the more that you think the worst about a situation, and the more you think about someone letting you down, and the more you have these just negative assumptions in general, they will come true in one way or another. And the awesome thing is that you can change it. Because the solution isn't about controlling others. It's not about managing perceptions, and it's not about staying small. Hell no. The real work is the internal stuff. And this is where everything shifts. And this is how to break that loop, and it comes in 4 different steps. Step 1, stop outsourcing your safety to other people. The thing is, people didn't let you down. You let yourself down. Every time that you ignored your intuition, every time you abandoned your truth, and every time you stayed small to keep people comfortable, that's what created the resentment in the first place. So shift the focus from, will they disappoint me, or they're eventually going to disappoint me, to how can I show up for myself? It all starts from in here. Everything starts from in here. Your whole reality begins from in here. Yourself, your body. So it's about the internal work first, shifting this internal stuff so that your outer reality can actually start shifting and changing. This is what I love about the inner work so much, is that when you start really focusing on the inner work and start making those shifts happen, you will notice your outer reality, things that will start to shift. People will start acting differently, or you'll go to the shops and there'll be new stalls that like you didn't even notice before. Like you just start noticing different things. Step number 2, focus on being 1% better every day. Now this is a pretty simple one, pretty standard one, but as soon as you lock this in, your growth journey becomes unstoppable. It's not about perfecting anything, and it's not about proving anything. This is about acting with integrity, like doing what you say you're going to do. As simple as that. I have a firm belief that the universe acts in a way that when you say you're going to do something, the universe goes, oh, okay, they're going to do that. I'm hearing them, I'm listening to them. Let's get them to do that. But then when you don't follow through on what you say you're going to do, the universe goes, what? And then that feeling of feeling like you let yourself down, that's you like letting the universe down. That's how I see it anyway. And so you like get that icky feeling because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Because the universe got excited, was like, sweet. It's like telling your dog you're going to take it for a walk and then just not taking it for a walk. That's probably the best analogy that I can use. Like your dog's going to get upset. Like if you tell the universe, I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it, and the universe goes, oh, well, that sucks. And that's why you feel like, there. As well as doing what you say you're going to do, also just take care of yourself. Take care of the spaces that you're in. Take care of your physical body. Take care of your mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional self. Put in the work constantly, because it is a constant process. And show up honestly. Be as honest as you can, even when it hurts, because that is what creates the most transformation. Because the thing is, when you stop letting yourself down, you stop needing that constant reassurance from others. And it feels so good. Step 3, understanding the emotional feedback loop. When you act in alignment, you feel good. When you feel good, your thoughts about yourself soften. When your thoughts about yourself soften, the thoughts about others soften too. And suddenly the story goes from people are against me to people want to see me win. People are on my side. And step number 4, let yourself believe that people want to see you win. This part takes a lot of courage, because believing that people want to see you win actually means risking disappointment. But the thing is, I'd rather be disappointed than just be constantly lying to myself. Because here's what I found, is that most people aren't rooting against you. They're actually rooting for you. Or they're just plain neutral, because they're too focused on their own internal world. They're too focused on their own daily problems that they're dealing with. They can't think about you as well. They're focused on their own growth. They're focused on figuring their own shit out. And this idea that people want to see you fail is old pain speaking. So it's about going back and finding out when that started, when that story started, when it began, what happened to you when you were younger, when that story began. And I'm not a therapist, and I'm not going to stand here and tell you how to do that. You need to go to a professional and get them to take you through that process, because it is heavy. Now here's the shift that I promised earlier, this internal shift. When you stop letting your past define how you interpret the present, everything opens up. Like multiple doors will open. and you'll know exactly what I mean. Remembering that your past is information, it's not your identity. And your past doesn't get to decide how you live anymore. You get to choose play, you get to choose joy, you get to choose to follow your intuition, and you get to choose to expand the fuck out of yourself. And the moment that you do, and the moment that you start playing a big game, the world actually feels less hostile. And you'll start to notice that, oh, there is actually enough space for me. There is enough space for me to play a big game. There is more than enough space for you to play a big game. So you need to start playing one. Once you start playing a big game, people will start to come into your life that will help you. People will feel less threatening because the right people are starting to come into your world, and your life is going to feel a lot lighter. Even though when you first start playing a big game, there's going to be fears and doubts and everything that pop up, which is totally normal. These are for you to work through. These are obstacles for you to work through, because these obstacles are helping you evolve and helping you grow. It's like when you go to the gym and you lift a heavy weight, that's what these obstacles are for. They're getting you ready for the next phase, for the next evolution, for the next step in your journey, in your growth journey. So if you've been holding yourself back from imagined perceptions and imagined assumptions, if you've been dimming your light to keep the peace, makes me feel sick when I say that. And if you've been living in old stories about people letting you down, it is time to let that go. It's time to lock in, and it's time to look after yourself. It's time to follow your intuitive niggles, and it's time to let yourself create a life that is centered around play. You need to start believing that most people want to see you win, because they do. And the ones who don't, honestly, kick them to the curb. They don't deserve to be in your energy anymore. So if this video resonated, then subscribe to this channel, because this channel is about becoming a creator and creating the life that you've always dreamed of living. You don't need to shrink anymore.